Hello and welcome to the first walkthrough I've done for quite a while. The last was Attic Attack, way back in August of 2015. This walkthrough is for Rex, a brilliant game that came number 8 in my top 100 Spectrum games. And actually, as part of that, I said I'd love to see a remake of this as well. I think this game is absolutely ripe for a remake. It would be brilliant. You play Rex, a rhino sapien who has to infiltrate something called the Zenith Tower. First, you have to go through the underground caverns to get into the tower, and then in the second part, you've got to make it to the top. In this walkthrough, I'm going to do part 1, where you infiltrate the underground caverns. A little bit of background about this game. It was released in 1988 by Martech Software and was written by The Light. The Light also went on to write Myth History in the Making. At least some of the guys who were in The Light did. And you can tell that by the graphic style. Myth and this game are very, very similar. And Myth always gets really good reviews. Every room in this game is kind of like a separate puzzle. You've got to work out how to get from the entrance to the room to the exit without getting Rex killed or using too much of your shield energy. Where there are save pods and weapons pods, you need to work out how to make sure you grab the weapon or save yourself. You can get additional weapon energy in form of kind of bubbles that are left over when you kill humans or kill any of the defense systems that you encounter. And you encounter a lot of defense systems in this game. I guess the genre is kind of almost a run and gun platformer, but it's a real puzzle game. Everyone knows I like puzzle games. If you listen to any of my commentaries or my top 100, you know I love puzzle games, which is probably why I like this game so much. So as you've already seen, the first few screens are actually pretty simple. Once you've worked out how to get through them, it gets easier. And the difficulty, especially in the first installment of Rex, ramps up quite quickly. I have seen reviews of this game that said it was very, very hard. So far in this game, we've already been through the first few screens. Rex has already got his first additional weapon, which is the double shot. You don't get to the weapons until you've got enough weapon energy for them though. This point we're coming up to at the moment, that's a save spot. So whenever you see one of those kind of pods that have two large green pillars with the rotating blue tops, when you get the tops to rotate and it makes a certain noise, that saves the game for you. This section's quite good actually because you have the walls that you shoot through. It's quite unique to this first part of the game. Another thing about this game is you can take different routes. So at the moment we're going kind of above the top level of this cavern, and you can see that there's a bottom level that has defense units and things like that, but we couldn't get to that. And that's a theme of the game, and there are various routes that you can take, and the route that I take is my favourite route. Although towards the end of this recording, when I get right to the end, I do take one route that I didn't want to take. I no longer take. I've found a different route that you can take that I think is easier at the end. We've just got the second weapon there, which is the laser. The laser is actually a really powerful weapon. It's one of the most powerful weapons you can get. It's not my favourite, but it is pretty powerful. We've got enough weapon energy now to have the double shot. And again, this is one of the routes you can take. You can take the upper cavern of this, but if you do that, you don't get all of the weapons. It took me a little while to work that out. Another thing to say about this game is there is a great score multiplier. So when you shoot a human, if you keep shooting him and riddling him with bullets, you get a really good score multiplier. And you can get some quite high scores, and getting a good high score in this game is good because it means you can get extra lives. And there are a few points, there's one coming up in a little bit where I call them extra life leech points. You have to play the game, you have to keep shooting humans and things like that, but humans just keep coming into the room and you can keep hitting them with bullets and build up your lives. We'll see one of those in a little bit. Now, when you die, you lose weapon energy. So I think the backstory is that the weapon energy is what is used to transport you to the latest transport pad, the save pad. which can be a bit frustrating, especially later on in the game if you're at a really difficult bit and your weapon is getting less and less powerful all the time. You really need those more powerful weapons towards the end of the game. That thing that just happened there, where it kind of comes up and gives you a choice of what you want to do, is a question mark. And there are a few different things that you can get. Some are good and some are bad, actually. I really hate getting them. I've always hated getting them in the game. The other thing you have in this game, and it's represented by the 3 red lightnings in the top right-hand corner of the display, are those lightning bolts, which are basically smoke bombs. They kill everything on the screen. And they're really, really useful, almost essential later on in the game. I don't think you can complete this game without them later on. This is that extra life leech point that I mentioned earlier. So as you can see, the humans keep coming in. You can just keep hitting them with bullets. And this does 2 things. It gives you the score multiplier, so it builds up your extra lives. But it also gives you a chance to get lots and lots of weapons energy, so you can build up your weapons. Now the weapons pod on the right, I've just noticed I haven't been to yet, is the multi-shot weapon pod. I will have to go to that at some point. I'm sure I'll go to that at some point. But you can just keep building up your lives here. A little bit more trivia about this game. It only got 82% in Crash. And I don't know why it got such a low score in Crash. It's an absolutely brilliant game. It seems really strange that it got such a low score in Crash. Here we go. Now the laser doesn't give you the multiplier. Another thing about the game, if you notice the top yellow and green piece that keeps kind of flashing along at the top, that is your time limit. So any room you have a certain time limit. You can only stay in it for a certain time and stay alive. Now I think that's to stop exactly what I'm trying to do here, which is use a room that has humans coming in to build up a really high score and so get loads of extra lives. There's one of the lightning bolts, which is the smart bomb I mentioned earlier. It's actually really, really good when you get them. Here we go, here's the multi-shot, got enough weapon energy for that and got it. And as you can see, this really gives you the big multiplier. You see the multiplier going across the top. And there we go, we lost weapon energy when we died there. I guess this bit is a bit boring actually, because you just keep trying to get extra lives. Some of the reviews on Spectrum 2.0 were interesting for this, all very good. It was compared favourably to Cybernoid, and I guess it is a little bit like Cybernoid. I've not played Cybernoid in a lot. I find Cybernoid too difficult, whereas I don't find Rex as hard. Cybernoid, it seems to be you really need to kind of get your timing exactly right, whereas this is, as I say, more of a puzzle game. It's less around timing and more around actually just figuring out the best route. And somebody else on Spectrum 2.0 said the game feels like a love child between Monty Mole and Cybernoid. So again, compared to Cybernoid, but also recognising that platform element that you have in the game. One of the other things I really like about this game is the loading screen. I think the loading screen is absolutely excellent. That kind of close in on Rex where you see his close up looks really, really good. Need to be building up some more lives here. It's taken a little while. Yeah, really getting some good multipliers. That multi-shot can really, really give you a big multiplier sometimes. decided to go for it now. After that room, the difficulty really does ramp up now. So I've got to the save point. Yeah, the next few rooms can be pretty tricky. And coming up, there's a kind of mini boss. See him in a second. Now in this room, there's a teleport pad, so not a teleport pad, a shield pad. Oh dear. And I think I would have wanted to get that shield from that shield pad. Yeah, this is the mini boss, this kind of huge boss. It takes quite a lot of hits. And what I try to do in this room is arrange it so that I've got the laser. If you've got the laser, you tend to be okay. Because the laser does a lot of damage, and it does a lot of damage to that kind of big floating head thing. There we go. And you get quite a bit of weapons energy once you kill him as well. I've dropped down a few lives. There's the final weapon pod, which is the spray. Which isn't my favourite. I guess it's supposed to be the most powerful. One thing it doesn't do is, the spray isn't counted as bullets, so it doesn't give you the score multiplier, which is a bit disappointing. In this room, and given how little weapons energy I have, I always go the blow piece if I need some more weapon energy, because you get quite a lot of weapon energy quite quickly from that bit below on here. Kind of bouncy humans in their little floating devices that are a bit annoying. Now this one, you've got to jump off there. And remember to put your shield on. Go. And this really is getting into the business end of the game now. It does get a lot harder at this point. I think this game is harder than, at the end, here, this point, than the second installment. The second installment does start really hard. From the beginning, it is pretty relentless. It is much harder than the start of this game, but at the end, part 1 is definitely harder than any part of part 2. Remember to jump and put your shield on this time, Jeff. Now this piece here, you get a lot of humans coming into this room, so this is another life leech point. I like the rooms that have both a... Oops. That's another thing about the game. If you fall off the bottom of a screen where you're not supposed to, you die. And sometimes the save point doesn't work. You've got to be very careful to make sure it did. The blue thing's rotated, but it just mustn't have completely saved. And I've never really been able to work out why. Sometimes you can just hardly barely touch them and it saves, and sometimes you can be on them ages and it doesn't seem to save. You just remembered the shield in time there. Let's see if this time I can get my game saved. Try touching it a few times just to make sure. Those kind of anti-gravity elevator things are interesting as well. You've got to be in just the right position to get them to work. I'm pretty sure I'll be using this as a leech point to get some more lives. The up the top bit there, you can get a huge amount if you do it right. The thing to remember is make sure you keep on the bullets, you don't move off onto the spray, don't get too much weapon energy. Or even when the guys are dying and you're riddling them with bullets, if you touch them you still die. Which can be a bit of a pain. I've decided to go for it now. The puzzle element really comes in these next few rooms. That was a bit unfortunate. I've said about other games in the past having a bit of a unfair feeling to them. And I'd say Rex almost has that. There are some places in the game where you just think, oh, that was a bit unfair. Don't think I should have died there. That was a really good multiplier. If it goes all the way along to 9, you know you've done a pretty good multiplier on the game. Oh, let's hope another human doesn't drop in from above and just get me there. Now in this game you always get a smart bomb at the bottom. Which is very useful as there's a lot of hidden baddies shooting at you in this game and the only way to kill them is with the smart bomb. We're into kind of the final leg now. And this bit does get difficult. You can die quite a lot trying to get through this last piece. When you come back into this room, you have a choice. You can either use the smart bomb, or you can not use the smart bomb, and see if you're able to use shield energy to get through. Now this is really where the difficulty ramps up. As you can see, there are a lot of baddies. That room that we've just come out in, I'll actually go left now. That's where I don't come this way at all now. I find this really, really difficult. Always use a smart bomb in this room. And when you do, there's so much weapon energy that you basically ramp up your weapon energy almost to the top. And the spray now is completely charged up. So you actually get multi-direction. It goes out of every single direction. Which is okay, but doesn't give you as much protection to the front. This is a difficult room because you get a lot of those little kind of droid things that shoot in all directions and they can do you a lot of damage. In fact, in a way, it's a disadvantage to have full power on your spray at that point. Yeah, so this is the room where I now go left, and I find it much easier if you go left. Now having that not fully charged up, well, it's charged back up again. But I didn't have the fully charged up spray before, and it is much easier if you have that. You can afford to use a lot of shield there because there's a shield recharge pad in this room. And once again, I always use the smart bomb. Very nearly there now. Strange thing is there are so many baddies at the end of this game. There's so many humans coming and trying to kill you that you can get a lot of points. So you keep getting lives after lives after lives after lives. But then the problem with that is that if you can't get all the way through, you don't get as far as you need to get, you keep dying. the game gets a bit boring and relentless. It's like, oh, come on. Either let me through or kill me finally. Now, once you get past this room, there isn't much further to go. I think one of the techniques I've realised with this room is not moving. I have a feeling that movement makes those little robot droid things appear that do you so much damage. Either that or you've just got to be lucky. Nearly there now. The next room's the final room. Luckily, there's a save point just before it. So you do get as many tries as you want, or as many lives as you need on this final room. This is a quite hard jump there. Yeah, it's twice I haven't made it. Not surprised I died there. I had no shield either. In the second part of the game, you get a code at the end of the game, and in the second part of the game, if you put the code in, you get the same amount of smart bombs as you had in the previous level. The code will come up in a second. There it is. And I always make sure I keep one smart bomb, just to make sure that I can do it, because in the final one, there's only one screen where I need a smart bomb. Well, there we go. That's Rex. That's my walkthrough. Hope you enjoyed that. As usual, let's watch it all again, but a little bit faster. This time the music is courtesy of Mitch Ben. I wrote to Mitch a little while ago asking permission to use a different song in one of my walkthroughs that I haven't done yet. Once you hear this song, I think you'll agree with me that I can use this one without his express permission for reasons that will become apparent once you start to listen to it. My vain hope is this will somehow come to Mitch's attention and he'll get back to me, because I'm pretty sure the reason he didn't get back to me before was he was just too busy. He does actually seem like a decent guy, and I'm sure if he can, he would let me use that other song. Anyway, Mitch, take it away.
Steal this song, tape it for all your friends and relatives on cheap cassettes, or better yet, change half the words and say you wrote it. Steal this song, flog it at car boot sales or at record fairs, or better yet, post it on the net so everybody can download it. Why would I think my taste in music's more informed than yours is? Home taping isn't killing music, music's dying of natural causes. Steal this song, make thousands of pirate copies on CD-R or mini-disc. It's worth the risk, I promise that I'll never sue. Steal this song, I hope that it makes you rich. It's really all the same to me, because you see I stole it before you.
Thank you, Mitch, and if you want me to, I will take that song off this video. So that was Rex, my walkthrough. Hope you enjoyed that. I think I'm a bit rusty at doing these, by the way. If it was a bit stilted or didn't come across quite as well as some of my other videos, I apologise. It has been a long time since I did a walkthrough. Until next time, happy gaming!